The late in the Trump-Harris debate and 2024 campaign. Republican Senator Mitt Romney, a former GOP presidential nominee himself, said he's concerned that former President Donald Trump refused to say that Ukraine should win the war against Russia during Tuesday night's presidential debate. Romney also said that he doesn't think the debate will move the needle. There are a few exceptions to that, but in last night's debate I thought President Trump prosecuted his case as he wanted to. I think the vice president was able to demonstrate that people's questions about could she answer questions from the media or not, those were answered well. She spoke well and clearly, and I think she prosecuted her case as well, he told CNN. Romney, a frequent critic of Trump, called the debate a classic President Trump performance, and added that Harris was able to introduce herself to the American people. Most people didn't know her terribly well, other than a few clips that were not flattering that you might see on the internet, said Romney. And people saw, oh, actually, she's an intelligent, capable person who has a point of view on issues, and she demonstrated that time and again. The Utah Republicans said it was no surprise that the baseless claims about Haitian migrants eating pets came from Trump, adding that the former president should just stick to the issues. Several Republicans refused to discuss the debate, including Senator Todd Young, who has refused to back Trump. "I'll talk to you after the election," he said. Former President Donald Trump and his running mate Ohio Senator J.D. Vance visited firefighters at engine company Ford Ladder Company 15 in New York City, where they stayed for about 45 minutes. They came to the station after the 9/11's commemoration ceremony held at Ground Zero. Trump and Vance moved their way through the station, shaking hands, taking pictures, and visiting with people. They all took a group photo with Trump and Vance standing in the middle with a large FDNY sign behind them. Trump waved to reporters across the street. He raised his fist and gave a thumbs up. Vance departed about 10 minutes before Trump, who stayed and talked with more people. Right-wing activist Laura Loomer stood outside on the side of the fire station with Trump co-campaign managers Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita. She was seen getting off the Trump plane in Philadelphia Tuesday before the debate. Voting for the 2024 general election officially begins today as absentee ballots start going out in Alabama. Eligible voters can also now request and cast an absentee ballot in person. In Alabama, voters must have a valid excuse to vote absentee, either by mail or in person. So a relatively small number of ballots are cast that way. The voting season was supposed to start last Friday with mail ballots going out in North Carolina, but that process is delayed as the state reprints ballots after the state Supreme Court ruled officials must remove Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name. Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris in a virtual coin toss before their presidential debate, but that's about all he won. From the opening moments Tuesday night, when the vice president strode over to Trump's podium and all but forced him to shake her hand, she dictated the terms of their critical clash exactly 8 weeks before Election Day. From Harris' point of view, the night could hardly have gone better. She came across as fresh and energetic and brimmed with a positive future vision. Trump glowered and ranted and blasted America as a failing nation and seemed off his game. The vice president, who has sometimes struggled in spontaneous situations, delivered the most imposing performance of her political career. Trump, who had gone into the debate predicting he'd prove boxing champ Mike Tyson's maxim that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, was himself stunned by multiple jabs and landed few in return. At a time when nearly a third of voters suggested in one recent poll that they wanted to know more about Harris, the vice president's performance seemed more likely to expand her coalition. Trump, meanwhile, didn't make much effort to change perceptions about his dystopian intentions among the key swing state voters who will decide the election. While it's too early to say whether Harris' performance will translate into new momentum, her campaign will be optimistic that she's improved her chances among perhaps 200,000 movable voters who will decide the next election in a handful of states. Oil prices are near 3-year lows. Gas prices are sinking below $3 in many parts of America. So why were Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump talking so much about expanding oil production during Tuesday night's debate? Harris, criticized for her previous stance against fracking, noted that she represented the tie-breaking vote in the Senate to open new fracking leases in 2022, though also repeatedly touted her support for clean energy solutions. She correctly acknowledged that under the Biden administration, the United States has been producing more oil than any country has in history. Meanwhile, Trump, who supports a rapid expansion of oil production, attacked Harris for policy proposals that he said would decimate America's fossil fuel business. If she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead, Trump said. Andy Lippo, president of Lippo Oil Associates, told CNN in a phone interview on Wednesday that he's not at all concerned about the fossil fuel industry getting destroyed because Americans still rely on oil for gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. For all the candidates' talk of promoting fossil fuel production, it's not clear that America needs drastically more oil. And climate scientists say that's the exact opposite of what the planet needs. U.S. crude prices settled below $66 a barrel Tuesday, their lowest level since December 2021, before bouncing back a bit Wednesday. Gas prices are at a 6-month low, according to AAA. Meanwhile, OPEC+, a group of major oil-producing nations, is so worried about excessive supply and weak demand in China that it delayed plans to ramp up production. U.S. oil production has already spiked to a record of 13.4 million barrels per day, according to weekly federal data. Lippo said it would be difficult to get U.S. output dramatically above 14 million barrels per day because all of the most efficient and cheapest places have already been drilled. Bob McNally, president of Rapid Energy Group, is also skeptical that U.S. output can spike. As a rule, the president doesn't have the power to quickly ramp up U.S. oil production. The industry operates all out, said McNally, who served as an energy advisor to former President George W. Bush. Winning a debate hardly guarantees winning an election, but North Carolina Gov. Roy Cooper said he believes Kamala Harris will move the needle in his battleground state after her strong showing in Philadelphia. The vice president's answers on protecting abortion rights and health care, Cooper said, could be key to bolstering Democratic efforts to deliver the state in a presidential race for the first time since 2008. She was really strong on health care, Cooper told CNN after the debate. Donald Trump would take it all away. Don't let him fool you. Cooper, who has known Harris for nearly 2 decades, said he was surprised Trump took the bait on the size of his crowds and more. For sure, Cooper said. I think she knew that this was a vulnerability of his, but to just become completely unraveled, unhinged, and incoherent shows why he should not be president of the United States. Former President Donald Trump laid into ABC News on Wednesday morning after his rocky debate performance, stating the network should have its broadcast license revoked. They ought to take away their license for the way they did that, Trump said of the news organization. ABC News moderators David Muir and Lindsay Davis fact-checked Trump throughout Tuesday night's presidential debate, quickly correcting the record for millions watching at home after the Republican pushed falsehoods on abortion, migrants, and the 2020 election. It was a rigged deal, as I assumed it would be, because when you looked the fact they were correcting everything and not correcting with her, Trump said Wednesday. The former president also suggested, without evidence, that Vice President Kamala Harris was provided the debate questions in advance. Trump ultimately delivered more than 30 false claims during the debate, CNN's preliminary count found, while Harris shared just one false claim, though she also added some claims that were misleading or lacking in key context. Trump campaign National Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called last night's debate a big success for President Trump. Leavitt deferred to Trump when asked about the potential for more debates, telling CNN News Central host John Berman, "All of the debates that we have announced on this campaign, and there have been many of them, have come from President Trump directly, so I will let him make an announcement on this front. I haven't talked to the president since he made those remarks," she said. Leavitt rejected a suggestion from Berman that Vice President Kamala Harris got under Trump's skin during the debate, saying, "I don't think that happened at all." She criticized the ABC News debate moderators, as the former president and other campaign surrogates have done since last night. When asked about Trump's assertion that he will produce a health care plan in the not-too-distant future, Leavitt said, "I don't have a date for you this morning, but I'll definitely get back to you with one as soon as I can." She later added that Trump's plan is based on the free market, in contrast to